Welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. I am Anel Lee, your host, bringing you raw and authentic wisdom. Today, I will be discussing the importance of recognizing our own flaws. I have been dealing with some conflicts lately, and although I am a therapist, I have my own therapist along with a coach because it helps me stay accountable. It helps me see things that maybe I'm not seeing, and it helps me grow and get feedback. So I'm going to be discussing the 4 things that you could do to learn to recognize your own flaws, because whether you have started your healing journey or not, it is important for you to recognize your flaws. So then you could learn to change them. So then you can learn to not repeat the same things that are going to continue to give you the same results. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So we don't want you to go insane. We want you to grow and learn from your mistakes. So recently, one of the major conflicts that I've had is with someone close to me. And as I was reflecting, I realized that I was contributing to creating the dynamics that were being created. So I had to take a step back. And the first thing that I do was reflect on what were my actions, what were my thoughts, what were my behaviors that were allowing for this dynamic to continue, and how was I contributing to that dynamic? Because sometimes it's so easy for us to want to blame the other person and we don't look at ourselves. And that's not easy. It's not easy. And I will be the first one to admit it wasn't easy, but I had to take some time to reflect. The second thing that I did was be open to feedback. I have never liked hearing the bad that I'm doing or acknowledging the bad in me. And I think one of the biggest struggles of my healing journey was realizing that I contributed to a lot of the toxicness that was happening in my life. And as I've gone through my healing journey, I have learned to be open to have feedback from others, because with that feedback, I have been able to see blind spots. I have been able to take that feedback and not get defensive. Ooh, that's such a big one. Just recently, I had somebody reflect something back to me, and my automatic response was to get defensive. And instead, I had to pause before I responded. And that is the third thing that I'm gonna encourage you all to do to help you identify your own flaws is practice mindfulness. Learn to be in the present moment, because oftentimes when we respond to something or when we get defensive to something, it's often because of what we are making it mean. Whatever the statement is what are we making it mean? And that's what we're being defensive to. But if we practice mindfulness, if we learn to be in the present moment, if you do some reflecting, such as journaling, prayer, like having that silent moment and asking God, please show me areas that I'm not seeing, or having those trusted people to reflect that back on you and be open to it without getting defensive. And listen, I will be the first one to tell you that it is definitely a skill. It's not easy to take feedback and not get defensive, but it's not impossible. And lastly, the thing that I would encourage you all to do to be able to identify your own flaws is to give yourself grace. Practice acceptance and knowing that nobody is perfect. Nobody. The only human that was perfect was Jesus. We are flawed. When we accept our imperfections, it will lead us into growth. It will lead us into working towards becoming a better version of ourselves. So when you self-reflect and you are open to feedback, you practice mindfulness and you journal or meditate or pray, you also practice acceptance. And after you do those 4 things, then it will serve you to set goals for yourself. Set realistic goals, small, attainable goals. Don't think that your healing is going to happen overnight or that you're going to change a major flaw that has been decades of you acting in a certain way. It's going to take time. Set realistic goals, right? If you tend to get angry or defensive often, maybe set a small goal of minimizing the amount of times that you get defensive, right? Or angry. So let's say you get angry 7 times a week or 7 to 10 times a week. Let's say you set a goal to have maybe 5 to 6 times that you're going to get defensive. Before you even set those goals, you have to know and identify what are the flaws and recognize what are your actions, what are your thoughts, what are the behaviors, and track that and be able to identify that before you could even get to setting the goals. I hope that you found today's video helpful. It's very short snippets of wisdom that I give you all. So make sure that you like and subscribe. And if you found this video helpful, share it with someone. I will see you all next week for Wisdom Wednesday.